Mrs. Kyndley's Christmas. Mrs. Kyndley was an elderly woman who lived near the Huckenback Tunnel. Every day she would see engines like Thomas and Toby travelling across the line. One day she was very ill and she had to stay in bed all day. "Poor lady," said Thomas. "I am sorry for her. The engines do have heavy loads at Christmas time." But Thomas and Toby didn't mind the hard work when they saw Mrs. Kyndley waving. But then it began to rain. It rained for days and days and days. "I don't think this is going to be a good way to celebrate Christmas," Thomas said to his driver. "Don't worry, Thomas, but we need to go quickly. Pull hard and get home. Mrs. Kyndley won't wave today." But whether she waved or not, they always whistled when they passed the little lonely cottage. Its white walls stood out against the dark background of the hills. "Hello!" exclaimed Thomas's fireman one day. "Look at that!" The driver came across the cab. "Something's wrong there," he said. Hanging, flapping and bedraggled from a window of the cottage was something that looked like a large red flag. "Mrs. Kyndley needs help, I expect," said the driver, and put on the brakes. Thomas gently stopped. The guard came squelching through the rain up to Thomas's cab, and the driver pointed to the flag. "See if a doctor's on the train and ask him to go to the cottage. Then walk back to the station and tell them we've stopped." The fireman went to see if the line was clear in front. 2 passengers left the train and climbed to the cottage. Then the fireman returned. "We'll back down to the station said the driver, "so that Thomas can get a good start." "We shan't up the hill," the fireman answered. When they saw what had happened, it did not look good at all. "Go back to the drain. I'm going to the cottage." He found the doctor with Mrs. Kyndley. "Silly of me to faint," she said. "You saw the red dressing gown. You're all safe." "Yes, I've come to thank you. There was a landslide in the cutting, doctor, and Mrs. Kyndley saw it from her window and stopped us. She saved our lives. God bless you, ma'am." They cleared the line by Christmas Day. The Fat Controller was there, and lots of other people who wanted to say thank you to Mrs. Kyndley. "Happy Christmas," whistled the engines as they reached the place. The people got out and climbed to the cottage. Thomas and Toby wished they could go too. Mrs. Kyndley's husband met them at the door. They went in to give her some presents. She was very pleased. "You are very good to me. Looks like I'm off to Bournemouth to get better, and I can be welcomed home by Thomas and Toby. This is exciting."